Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Coffee with Creators podcast. My name is Rob Balasabas. I've got my coffee. If you guys are watching the video version of this on Spotify, you can watch a video version on Spotify. You used to be able to watch a video version on YouTube as well, but that's what I want to share with you guys today. YouTube made some changes recently where they allow you now to add your podcast RSS feed to your YouTube channel. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're also going to talk about a couple other things around podcasts, primarily one around a new podcast that I'd love to share with you guys, especially for the creators in the room that's listening, or folks that are helping creators with their businesses. Definitely want to talk about that as well. All right. So really excited for this episode. I believe we are now into episode 133 and just having a blast out here. And so if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you are not new to the podcast, welcome back. One thing I do want to invite everybody to do is head over to my Spotify page for this podcast. You guys will find it. There's probably a link in the show notes somewhere. If you're listening to this on Spotify, or if you're listening to this on, Apple podcast, or, any other Stitcher. Actually, no, I think Stitcher is actually not a thing anymore. But if you're listening at somewhere else, head over to the Spotify version of this podcast, because what you can do here, and this can be really fun actually, is you can send in a voice message. Okay, so if you're seeing this on the video version on Spotify, you'll see that there is a send voice message button. And so I would love for you to send in a voice message. Really easy. All you need to do is actually click that, and yeah, I tried to do that right now, actually, and I can't send myself a voice message, is what the error message says, but you can send me one. And so please send in a voice message. It can be a question, it can be a feedback, it could be request, it could be anything, suggestion, it could be anything. Send it in, though, because then I can actually include that in a future episode. All right, so make sure you send that in. That'd be really fun. I would love to see some messages come in, and yeah, send that through. So we're gonna kick off this episode. I want to talk about the YouTube RSS podcast feature that just launched recently, and how I'm using it, and how it's kind of changing my podcast play on my YouTube channel, and a couple other things. But before we do, here's a little bit of a, housekeeping and paying the bills here. Here's a little word about my friends over at StreamYard, all right? Hey, just a really quick break from the podcast. In case you're wondering how I create content, how I film and record podcasts, how I live stream, here's how I do it. I use a tool called StreamYard. It is the easiest way to live stream and record content. I'm scrolling through here. If you're watching the video, I love using StreamYard. I've been using them for years when they were just a startup. Up until now, I love using them. I love the team that's over there. Super helpful. They've got an amazing community as well. And if you're a creator, they also have a really awesome affiliate program. If you're using them, you should definitely jump on that affiliate program. I'm on it. I love it. I love using StreamYard. And so if you are looking for a tool to help you create content, make you look really professional, go live on multiple platforms, record your podcast, record your solo podcast, or with guests or multiple guests, then make sure you go check out StreamYard. You can use the link in the description to get a free trial. Let them know that Rob sent you. And if you have any questions, I have so many videos here on my channel all about StreamYard and how to use StreamYard and all the things. And if you can't find your answers in any of those videos, then leave a comment below with your questions about StreamYard, and I'll make sure it gets answered in a future video. All right, so go check out StreamYard, and now back to the episode. All right. So yeah, go check out StreamYard. All right, so I want to talk about the new podcast RSS feed change that YouTube just sent out. So let's go back into my screen. So again, if you're not seeing this, you're just listening. I'm going to try and describe it as best as I can for the audio folks out there that are catching this on the audio version. But if you want to see the screen and sort of the visuals that I'm sharing here, head over to Spotify podcast or my podcast on Spotify. Okay. All right. So what YouTube did recently is that they allow you now to connect your RSS feed or add your RSS feed from your podcast to your YouTube channel. And so if you're looking on my screen right now, you can see that on my podcast playlist, there's a podcast section. First of all, you find that there. And then on my podcast on YouTube, you'll see that there is now RSS because I did connect my RSS feed into my YouTube channel. Okay. And so how you do this is on the top right of your channel, when you go to your YouTube channel, there's a button that says create. Okay. Click on create. You'll get an option here. Give me 1 second. I'm actually just going to move things around a little bit. This is a bit of a podcast slash a tutorial, I guess. Let me see if I can just make sure that you can see my screen here, but I'm going to make sure it's a little bit smaller, just a little bit smaller here. Okay, so you'll see that if you click on create on the top right of your YouTube channel, you'll see some options that says new podcast. Okay, so if you click on new podcast, when you go there, this pop-up goes onto your screen. This pop-up goes onto your screen? No. This pops up on your screen, okay? So it says new podcast, and you got three options. You can either create a new podcast, you can set an existing playlist as a podcast, which is actually what I did previously before they had the RSS feed, or you can submit your RSS feed, okay? So there's three options. Create a new podcast, fresh new podcast, set an existing playlist as a podcast, or submit RSS feed from your existing podcast. Okay. And so what I actually did, I want to say 2 or 3 months ago, is I set an existing playlist as a podcast because I was uploading not all of my episodes as a video on YouTube, but I was uploading some of them. And so I had a playlist that was called the Coffee with Creators podcast. And it was just a playlist, a regular old playlist. And when YouTube allowed you to set that as a podcast specifically and open my channel up for that feature, that option, then I did do that. This was before the RSS feed thing. So it was just a playlist that was, tagged as a podcast. But now that you have the RSS feed option, what the RSS feed does, just so that you guys, for the folks that are maybe a little new to the podcast world and what RSS feed does, it basically will pull from your podcast host and pull those episodes directly onto YouTube automatically. This is what, for me, I use Spotify for podcasters as my podcast host. It used to be Anchor, which was already owned by Spotify. They were bought by Spotify, but then Spotify rebranded Anchor and killed the Anchor brand and basically now call it Spotify for podcasters. And so I use that for my podcasting host, okay? And so what happens is then from Spotify for podcasters, where I host my podcast, you can then, if you have an RSS feed, you just submit your RSS feed to all the other podcasting platforms, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all of the other, Google Podcast, all those other podcasting platforms that people listen in on, you submit it. And then it basically, every time you upload then to your host, which is for me, Spotify for podcasters, whenever I upload and publish a new podcast, it automatically gets distributed to anywhere that has my RSS feed. And so now YouTube allows you to do the same thing, and you can submit your RSS feed to YouTube. And so whenever you publish your podcast anywhere, Podbean or Libsyn or, Spotify, then it automatically will then take that episode and put it into YouTube. Now, what YouTube does is a little bit different in terms of how it actually won't show the video podcast, because I upload a video onto Spotify on my podcast because it allows you to do that. They allow you to upload a video, and that becomes a video podcast. If you're actually watching this on Spotify, you can see that there's a video option. You can actually watch me as a video podcast on Spotify. But when you do that with YouTube podcasts through the RSS, it actually doesn't do that as a video. And I'll show you what it looks like here. I'm going to share my screen again. What I did here is we're going to eventually show you exactly what that looks like here, what my episodes look like on YouTube. But here on to set this up, what you would do is you can either submit your RSS feed. So you see here, you can submit your RSS feed and you go next. Okay, so there's the submit your RSS feed option. Okay, now if you're like me though, and you already had a podcast playlist, what you then do instead is you go to podcast, your podcast tab on YouTube. You click on details, and then down below, you go down below the thumbnail and everything, there's the RSS settings, okay? RSS settings. And here I've already done it, but you can see that the RSS settings, if you're watching this, you put in your RSS URL. It's a URL. Mine is anchor.fm /s/random characters. And you connect it. Okay. And then you then select if once those videos or those podcast episodes are pulled from your YouTube or your podcast into YouTube, what's the visibility that you want? And I chose public. So whenever, a new episode is published on Spotify, it gets pulled into YouTube or pushed into YouTube, and it becomes a public video or a public piece of content on my channel that people can consume and listen to. Okay. You also have some other options here, show more, where you can also designate if there's paid promotions, sponsorships on these episodes. And for me, yes. So I click on yes. There are paid promotions in these videos or these episodes. And you can also set which episodes you would like to push into your YouTube channel. So what is the earliest published date that you want to pull into YouTube? And so I set it for 2 days ago so that all new episodes that I publish on Spotify on my podcast gets pulled into YouTube. Okay. That's a bit of a mouthful. So if you guys have any questions, please, send me a voice message. Send me a voice message on Spotify or leave a comment on this on YouTube if you're on YouTube. Okay. And if you're on somewhere else, if you're listening to this on Apple or somewhere else, then hey, hit me up on Instagram or LinkedIn, send me a DM, and happy to answer any questions. I will probably create a tutorial video around this on my YouTube channel sometime in the very near future, so that I imagine this will be a really common question a lot of people will ask about. Okay, so there you have it. I want to show you what the actual episode looks like. So what it does is that even though I upload a video to I upload a video version to Spotify as a video podcast on Spotify, and then the audio is pulled out and then distributed to all the podcasting platforms. On YouTube, it does the same thing. It doesn't keep the video. It only uses the audio. And so it takes the thumbnail and makes it a static image while it's playing. And
Have you ever wanted to add more breathing room to your...
We're going to pass through this ad here on this particular episode that I uploaded yesterday or last night. And you can kind of see what this looks like. So this is what the podcast looks like. It's just a thumbnail, and then there is video. You can listen in on it on YouTube. And so yeah, it's a great feature. I really like it. It makes it really easy to distribute your podcast this way. I used to basically upload twice, and I would upload to YouTube and upload to Spotify, but now I just upload to Spotify and it gets distributed to YouTube, and I'm good with that. I'm really good with that. It doesn't pull the video, but I'm I'm going to test it out for probably about 3 or 4 months, doing it this way and seeing what the results are. So hopefully that's really helpful for you guys. And so let me know if you have any questions around this. Probably talk more about, this new podcast RSS YouTube feature. And let me know what questions you have around that. So I want to get into another podcast that I want to share with you guys. But before we do, let's have a little break here, and I want to tell you a little bit about Opus Clip. Hey, we're going to take a quick break from the episode because I want to share this tool with you called Opus Clip. Opus Clip is a tool that I discovered a few months ago, and it is a tool that so many of my creator friends and many, many more established creators are using to create short form content for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Reels, you name it. Anything short form, Opus Clip is the place to go. And so I use it for my podcast and my YouTube videos and turning those into short form clips. And Opus Clip is amazing. I've been using them, like I said, for months, and I've been really uploading consistently now with short form content on YouTube Shorts, and it has really grown my channel, not just in audience size, but also in terms of revenue. And so we're reaching way more people, and those folks that are discovering the short form videos that Opus Clip has helped me create is now also watching my long form videos, and it's amazing. It's such a good workflow. It makes it so easy. All you need to do is either upload your long form videos or actually just put in the YouTube URL, and Opus Clip does the rest. Its AI is so good that it creates all of these short form clips, anywhere from 15 to 90 seconds, whatever you like. You can set it up. It sets up what's called a virality score, which actually tells you the likelihood of this video going really, really big. It's got AI Copilot. It's got speaker detection for those of you that have multiple faces for, say, video podcasts. It's got dynamic layouts. It's even got AI B-roll, which is in beta at the moment, but it's such an awesome tool because it actually pulls B-roll through AI into your short form videos and your clips. And so it's really awesome. And lastly, it's got AI, all of the emojis and all of the text and branding and all of those features. But my real favorite part about Opus Clip is that its AI is so intuitive that it finds the perfect moments from your long form and turns those into short form clips. And so if you want to try this out, you can check out Opus Clip. There's a free trial. I'll make sure that there's a link in the description or in the show notes, and you can start out with Opus Clip right away. They also have an awesome community, and so make sure you join that as well so you can connect with other creators that are using Opus Clip. All right, so go check out Opus Clip. Tell them Rob sent you, and now back to the episode. All right. If you're wondering, why is Rob wearing the same thing in those ad reads? Yes, I literally filmed those. 15 minutes ago. Actually, no, 20 minutes ago. Right before filming and starting this episode. So, it is. It is 4:30 in the evening. This is the last thing I'm gonna do before I wrap up for the evening. Get up to to the fam. But I wanted to share with you guys a new podcast that our team just launched here at Uscreen, and I'm super excited about this podcast. So I'm gonna share my screen here. You're gonna meet my buddy here, my good friend Matt ESTES. He's our COO here at Uscreen, and so he's our Chief Operating Officer. Matt has been in the software revenue space, and helping, SaaS companies grow for years. He's made a career out of it. And recently he's been talking with all of the folks, all of the COOs, all of the business operators behind some of the biggest creators out there that you know. Ali Abdaal, Mr. Beast, Yoga by Adrian, all of these amazing creators. And he's been connecting and speaking and getting to know all of the business operators behind the scenes, the COOs of these creator companies. And so what Matt has done and has been working on with another amazing colleague of mine is her name is Becca Donovan. Got to hang out with Becca actually in Dallas during Vid Summit with the rest of the team that went down there. Matt has launched a new podcast, and it's called The Creator COO. And the first couple episodes are launched. They're published. You can listen to them, watch them. It's on Spotify and Apple and YouTube as well. And so the first episodes were interviews that he had with Angus Parker, who is the COO for Ali Abdal's company, and also Jim Louderback, who is, he's a legend amongst the creator economy. He used to run VidCon before breaking off, and now he consults and advises different creators, different creator brands. Is just a wealth of knowledge. He's a good friend of mine as well, and has helped me through some things that I've been thinking through over the last couple years as well. Just been a good friend, great resource for us and the team. And so, I invite you guys to go check out this new podcast. It's called The Creator COO. Make sure you go check it out. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. I'll put the links down below. I'll also put Matt's LinkedIn profile as well, so make sure you connect with him if you are the type of person that is working with creators or is a creator yourself, and you want to kind of learn the business secrets that some of these really successful creator brands have built, and so and apply it to your business. As much as I want to be, of course, helping you directly, I think it's really important that, I'm not the only voice here that you're listening to, that there's so many other really smart, bright people out there that are doing some amazing things that you can learn from and apply some of the things that they have learned through their own, journey in business and their career, and apply it to yours. And so, make sure you go connect with Matt. And so, as I wrap up this podcast, also just want to invite you guys, please, if you're here, if you've gone this far, thank you. Would love for you to leave a review either on Spotify or Apple. Leave a review for the podcast. It really helps get this podcast out to more folks. If you're the kind of person that really values, sort of one-on-one conversations, if you have something really specific that you're trying to get through, a hurdle, a challenge, I have mentioned a couple weeks ago that I have opened up my calendar for a couple of coaching calls each week. And so would love to invite you, if that's something that you think might be valuable or helpful to you. I'd love to speak into some of the things you're working on through a coaching call. And so you can find a link in the show notes or in the description to fill out a form, and we can get connected to set up a coaching call or a series of coaching calls. All right. So, I'm here for you. Thank you for listening to this podcast, catching it. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.